So there's been a bunch of new Darktide info released over the past few weeks. We're going to go through it all from the new trailer to the lore stuff and what they've detailed about microtransactions. So starting off with the new trailer that was released yesterday at the Summer Games Fest. Overall, not really anything new here that we didn't really know about before. But what it does show is looking pretty good. The game's looking pretty solid. It seems to run pretty well in these little trailers. Hopefully it runs just as well in the actual game. We see our Reject 4 here going into a big old duct, and the whole video is pretty much just a synopsis of a mission that they're running through. And we see one of each class here, but they have announced that you will be able to play as any combination of different kinds of classes. So you can play as 4 Ogrons if you want to, 2 Ogrons and 2 Veterans, whatever you want to do. So that's cool. You can mix the teams up, although one has to wonder what happens if 2 boys have the same voice. It might be a bit strange, but maybe there's some kind of matchmaking that doesn't allow people with the same voice to be in the same team or something weird. Don't know, they haven't really commented on that yet, we'll have to see. Then we see some kind of weird servo skull device, but more importantly we see some kind of puzzle afterwards, this little thing. Glad to see that kind of stuff is still in. We'll see the Ogren do a charge now, which kind of looks like a Foot Knight charge, maybe one of his career skill options. We also see various shots of the Psycho attacks blowing stuff up, using the Force essentially, popping heads. So all of you Sienna players have that to look forward to, it's looking all very similar. And then we see our rejects moving on to the next part of the mission, where a couple of interesting things are going on here. Number one, the character is carrying something, so there's going to be more of that kind of teamwork event where somebody's got to carry stuff and the others have got to try and protect. But I do hope it tries to force teamwork a little bit more, like this thing that he's carrying. Let's say if you drop it, it breaks and you have to go get another one. So you can't just constantly throw it to the objective and basically one person can do it by themselves, as they can in Vermintide 2 with these kind of events. So I think it would be better if it forced 2 or 3 people to work together to get these things done. The other interesting thing you can see in this shot is how all of the allies have this kind of blue heart and skeleton around them, or inside them rather. You can see it a bunch of times throughout the trailer. I imagine it's maybe the outline, like in Vermintide you have a green outline around your allies so you can see where they are. It might just be a form of that, but we can see just their insides instead. But kind of weird we can see that in this trailer, as it is kind of part of the UI, but we can't really see any of the rest of the UI, so who knows. Overall, the trailer as well looks very melee intensive. A lot of people have been worried that it's going to go too ranged heavy. Understandably, as Vermintide is very melee focused, they're worried this is going to be too ranged focused. But it looks pretty balanced. Obviously depends on the class and the playstyle that you take as well. But overall, this gameplay trailer, everything is looking really nice. The weapons are looking cool. The whole vibe is very good. Sad we didn't get to see anything new. We get to see a boss there, but of course we don't actually get to see it. So yeah, cool to get some Darktide stuff, but still eagerly awaiting to find out actually more about the game and the classes and the systems and how gear works and how skills work and stuff like that. Hopefully we won't have too long to wait. One thing they have been doing though is the little Vox Transmission videos, which maybe some of you have heard, kind of building the story and the lore. As we see in this little clip, we see the lady turn into a horrible pox hag of some kind. But the Vox Transmissions seem to be about a lady called Wormwood. Her code name seems to be Wormwood, and she is begging for help from Morningstar, another code name which seems to be on the other end of the transmission, but he can't hear her and she can just hear his transmissions of him giving military commands or something like that. At least that's who I assume Morningstar is. Maybe this lady is the Inquisitor that's going to be giving us all of our missions, or maybe Morningstar is the Inquisitor and it's not that military guy on the end of the Vox. Maybe some 40k lore nerds will know better, but eventually we do hear a rather familiar voice who is obviously some kind of agent of Nurgle. It doesn't really give us anything new to the story that we didn't really already know, but it's kind of just setting up everything a little bit, and it's nice. So here's that final Vox transmission.
Morningstar, this is Wormwood. Immediate response requested. Situation critical. Acknowledge via secure Vox encrypted Delta 4 as soon as...
Target destroyed! Advancing to transit sub-access! Praise the darkness and the notch. A new beginning born of old fears.
I've seen evidence of it with my own eyes. This plague, this pox, it is the work of chaos. It deforms and ruins those infected in the most hideous ways, and provokes manic behavior and demented raving that is...
Confirmed! Target is ablaze! Can you hear the voice of truth? The giver of blessings untold, and the Lord.
Morningstar, in the name of the Emperor, please. The demons of decay will kill this hive unless you...
So there it is. Burble Spew Hellscourge is back. Okay, not really, but it definitely sounds very similar to the boss from Vermintide 2. So yeah, there's all that Vox Transmission stuff. Maybe there'll be more of them. There's only been 5. Maybe that wasn't the final one. Maybe there'll be a 6th one and so on. Who knows? But maybe that Nurgle voice is going to be one of our main enemies, one of the main bosses that we're going to have to deal with. Maybe we'll have to save the lady, if that is the Inquisitor, or maybe it's just some random scout. She might be more involved in the story as we progress through the game. So yeah, it's interesting, I think. And what's also interesting is good old microtransactions that everybody loves. No, just me. Only joking, I don't really care for them either. But they have released an FAQ about it, and it's not too bad. For the most part, it's pretty much the same as Vermintide 2, but just maybe a little bit worse. The game will have a premium store, and to quote, the premium store is focused on cosmetic items, that is, character skins, weapon skins, and other smaller customizable items, as well as DLC content. This premium store will have a premium currency called Aquillas. These are a currency in the premium store used to purchase any of the items in it. Aquillas are currently only obtainable via in-game purchase. So my understanding of this is that there will still be cosmetic unlockables as you play through a character and level up, and also through completing challenges and stuff, like in Vermintide 2, but there's also going to be cosmetics that are only obtainable through the spending of real money. Much like in Vermintide, if you want to get the pig hat, you have to pay like £1.89 or whatever. But in Darktide, instead of just spending the £1.89 to buy a pig hat, let's say, you have to buy it with Aquillas, and you have to buy those Aquillas first. So you might have to buy a pack of Aquillas, maybe like 500 Aquillas, and then the pig hat costs you 200 Aquillas, and then you're left with 300 Aquillas once you bought the hat. So you kind of have to overspend to buy things. Of course, you still have those 300 Aquillas left, but maybe you don't want to buy anything else, right? So it's not a fantastic system, but hey, it could be worse, I guess, having Tencent as your majority shareholder. What did you expect, I guess? But still, that's my understanding of it anyway. I might be wrong on that. It doesn't mention having to buy packs of Aquillas or anything like that. That's just my assumption. But as I said from the quote earlier, Aquillas are the currency used in the premium store to purchase any of the items available in it. Aquillas are currently only obtainable via in-game purchase. So you have to buy them in-game, and then you buy stuff with them. So that's like why I think it's a pack system, right? And there's also another currency which is more of just an in-game one, no real money involved, called Tertium Twins. Twins are a currency earned by doing activities in the game, such as completing missions or selling salvaged items. This currency is used for other in-game activities, such as improving equipment. This currency is not usable for acquiring cosmetics from the premium store. So this is maybe a little bit different from Vermintide 2, where we salvage our weapons and items and turn those into dust and whatnot, and then we make new weapons and upgrades with that. Well, now we're going to have a currency that we earn through doing missions and through selling items, which is maybe the same as salvaging items. Don't know. But another question on this FAQ is, how can I get cosmetics? There are 2 ways of getting cosmetics: progressing through the game or acquiring them through the premium store for Aquillas. Progress cosmetics will be given out as the player progresses through the story and from different challenges the game offers. Premium store cosmetics can be acquired as long as they are available and can be equipped by any character of that class account-wide. So the slightly curious line there is, as long as they are available. So that suggests that at some point certain cosmetics will become unavailable. And that can go one of 2 ways, I think. It's either just kind of bad or kind of okay and cool. Okay, fine. The bad way this can go is that there's certain cosmetics that are only available for a short time and then never again. So if you're just not playing the game at this point, or maybe you haven't discovered the game at this point, you're just going to forever miss those cosmetics. That is not a great system, as it just locks people out of certain content forever. The kind of okay way this can go, though, is if it's something like Overwatch, where there's kind of seasonal cosmetics. So at Halloween, there's certain skins that you can only get around Halloween time. At Christmas, there's Christmassy skins that you can only get around Christmas time. That sort of thing is okay, I think, as long as there's a reoccurring chance to get those cosmetics again. But there we go. That's most of the microtransaction stuff. Not too bad in my opinion, pretty much the same as Vermintide, apart from a slight change that we have to buy a premium currency now, which isn't great, but it's not the end of the world. Depends how bothered you are by microtransactions. For me, I'm not too fussed. I just try to remember that, hey, the money is going to go back into the game, hopefully, and make better DLCs and stuff in the future. So kind of think of it that way, I guess. And as it is all for cosmetics, you can just completely ignore it if you want to. If you're not into cosmetics, it's not going to stop you progressing through the game or anything. You just might not look as cool. But there we go. That's all the latest information I have on Darktide. Hope you've enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the future.